r/datingoverthirty. Prestigious Crow 4376 says, those who found your personal, how did the first few dates go/feel? How different were they from past dates? I'm 37 female, in the beginning of something with someone 38 male, who felt like home off the bat. We simply fit in so many ways, and seeing someone so open and honest, and who immediately felt like an old time friend has been a totally new and wonderful experience. I've been fooled by my emotions before, and intellectually I know that I desperately need to put my feet on the ground. While emotionally, I want to allow myself feel everything, because I've been numb for years now. Honestly, it's already too late to not be devastated if it doesn't work out, which is a scary thought I haven't allowed myself to think. This is the first time in my life where dating anxiety hasn't shown its face at all. This man makes me feel calm and safe, which is one of the top reasons why it feels so different. I want to read happy stories, because if it does become something real and long lasting, I'd love to savor and remember this moment without letting fear taint it. What's your beginning of a happy ending story? Importer Exporter 1 says, I was pretty confident I'd found my person, now my fiancé, on our second date. I had a moment where I just felt incredible peace with him. I've not felt that with anyone else. Most importantly, though, we've been through challenges together: unemployment, starting new work, managing trauma and mental health, navigating disability. In those moments I've known him better, known him as he is, and that's assured me he is my person. The Disproud says, not sure where you're coming from previously, but I had just ended a decade plus long-term relationship without marriage. There were a lot of signs I was trying to work through over the years and eventually realized I had fallen in love with someone's potential, not who they were. That potential never materialized, and I was left hanging on a lot of my own needs because of it. We ended amicably. When I met the person I'm dating now, I was traveling for work and decided to seek a summer romance. From message 1 we clicked. Sex forward app with similar views and interests. Flirted heavily for a few days. Finally met up for dinner, and at this point 40 male, I had already figured out what I needed from a relationship, what I was lacking from my previous one, and not trying to portray myself in a way that wasn't authentic. She was in a similar mindset and it all just resonated immediately after seeing each other and talking. I'm picky in the sense that I'm not going to try and date someone I know I'm not going to gel with, and so this was the second person I went on a date with post breakup. I wasn't expecting fireworks, but there they were. We ended up pulling out our calendars at the end of dinner and scheduling our next date right then and there. Shared a deep kiss right after we exited, and well had a great time over the course of my trip. We are currently doing a great job at managing a long distance relationship with shared travel about every 3 mo, and she was already planning on making her move to my city anyway. We are both very realistic about things and just enjoying everything for what it is right now. If it happens, it happens, but it looks like it's going to happen. To your question though, it was all about chemistry. You just feel it sometimes, not every time, but definitely in this instance. Intellectually, sexually, physically, we were there, into it, into each other. It just felt good, like we had taken everything from our past relationships, learned a lot about ourselves and what we wanted, and then just happened to find someone that fit those needs like it was. Shaberi says, I'm marrying my person this fall. After our first meeting, wasn't a date, but our mutual friend was setting us up, and we met in a group. I was intrigued. I didn't feel the same kind of excitement I'd felt for other guys, but I had a tendency to pick men who weren't right for me, so I decided to go with it. Each time we went out I just became more curious to know more and always felt at ease in a way I had never felt before. And it's been like that ever since. We've done through some rough life stuff, but he's always been easy to communicate with, and when we fight it never really feels like fighting. Something that really helped me at the beginning was taking space to understand how I was feeling, cause I too had a tendency to get Caught up in my emotions. I told him this, and he was so understanding and accommodating to this need. We were able to talk about our boundaries and our needs openly. I'd never felt able to do this in the past. r/datingoverthirty. SCH0 says, how do you find the strength to cut something off you know you're going to regret? I'm seeing a guy who tells me he only wants casual. He lives in another country, but he is suggesting coming here to stay for a few days next month and me staying with him. I don't know if this means anything to him, but it means a lot to me. But I also want to experience this because I like him so much. I haven't seen him in 7 weeks, but we've chatted fairly consistently over messages. Just want to know, how do you motivate yourself to make the right decision when your entire body is saying that you want him, but he'll probably hurt you? Just want to say as well, I don't date often. It takes me a long time to find someone on these apps that I connect with on all levels, so when I do it's hard to let go. Fabe88 says, no good is worth that headache and the heartbreak. When you learn that, you'll stop putting yourself into situations you knew were doomed from the start. 0HH0N3Y says, never assume a trip means the same thing to another person. Just be open and honest about what it means to you. I don't have vacations/trips/visitors with men I'm interested in dating typically, because it means a lot emotionally for me to be together in this way. If you were to come for a visit I would absolutely love that, but it would mean something serious to me. I think I could only follow through if you felt similarly. How do you feel? And if he goes no it's casual IDK, it doesn't mean anything to me, you politely cancel. Modern Lullaby says, knowing the pain wouldn't be worth it if he didn't choose me at the end of the day. Black to Repair Lie says, I simply wouldn't put myself in this position. Lust in the Cosmos says, self-worth. My alt-ax says, you mean the hair? Affectionate Zebra 26 says, I was seeing those who were unavailable for me, and do you know when I became respected and found better, more available partners? When I said no to people who were flaky, who weren't willing to invest in me. Every time I said no to disrespect, it got easier. I have regret because I look back and see the great sex. But only when I also forget the in limbo, nervous system dysregulation and emotions all over the place space I was in. If you want a long-term partner, you have to create the conditions to connect in that way. Otherwise you will keep getting sidetracked with maybes that keep you hooked and low in self-esteem. Suasana says, if you get with him and it stays casual for him, how will you feel in 5 years? How many personal goals will you have lost? Let's meet again says, you'll always have regrets. Regrets are an inevitable part of life. Just like you choose your steps forward and make decisions based on what you want and what's good for you, you can also make decisions based on what regrets you can or can't live with. I'm moving to live with my partner. It means starting over in an area where I have 0 friends or family at 37, which is hard as frick. I know it'll be fine since we have each other, and also because I can't live with the regret of not moving to give this a real shot, since we are so perfect together. He just happens to live across the country. Will you remember this moment in time 5 years down the line and ask yourself, why did you do it, or why didn't you? r/datingoverthirty. An N8 and Aurelium says, I took a gamble and it backfired on me big time. How do I reconcile the situation or recover from this humiliation? I had been talking to this guy for close to a month. At first I didn't think it was going to go anywhere, but I enjoyed my talks with him. I wasn't dating or talking to anyone else anyways. Finally we had made plans to meet up. I should say that he didn't dangle a commitment in front of me. I was fully aware that he wanted to be casual and leave the door open for it to become more. I'm not delusional, So I had assumed that it really meant he didn't want anything serious with me, and I was okay with that. I haven't been able to meet someone that I'm compatible with anyways on account of my choice to remain child free. But he was good at holding conversations, and he made me laugh. I found myself strangely attracted to him. So on the first date, against my better judgment, I actually went as far as sleeping with him. That is very unlike me, and that could actually explain why I was having a hard time relaxing during the sex. There was an internal battle inside my head the whole time. Afterwards, he said he was going to get food and left the hotel. After an hour had passed, I started getting antsy. He wasn't replying to my texts or anything. He then blocked me. I was in a state of shock for 2 days. I can't reconcile his actions with how he represented himself before. If for any reason he wanted to end the arrangement of having a casual or really sexual relationship, why couldn't he say so? Perhaps the sex was so bad that he thought even being FWB would not serve him. I'm now disgusted with myself for allowing this man to spit in my face like that. He doesn't realize that he didn't block me on Facebook, so technically I could reach out to me, but I think I will just get some more insults thrown at me. How do I move on? How do I rationalize this? I had never had a one-night stand, and I didn't expect this to actually end up being. Oroch Softeeth says, he was probably married. Tell me, does it turn you off when a guy does want a commitment? These are the kinds of stories that make me never want to admit to wanting a relationship and just tell everyone I want something casual, since women seem to respond better to that. Timely Mind 7244 says, where you worry, you make your problems double. Mr. Gilbert Grape says, the sex could have been incompatible. Maybe he took the inability to not satisfy you when your head was ruling the outcome of the encounter personally. Maybe he has been in a situation previously where similar had happened and had it blamed on him and decided it was done based on the first experience. It wasn't official. It doesn't sound like it was announced as a definite proposition of being more than FWB. It was a less than desirable experience for you. Don't take it personally. It may happen again, it may not. The dating world has changed for the worse. DBDXL says, I don't usually sleep with people on the first date. Is a tale as old as frick ein time. Haberdashery says, you should always assume sex is a-ons, especially when you have sex on the first date. If I'm not 100% comfortable with never seeing someone again, then I don't have sex. Mapleviolitz says, lesson learned. Move on. And if it ever happens to anyone else, at least can really empathize. Shit happens. Bigagi 222 says, ouch, that's painful. I'd say casual isn't for you. That's an awful thing to go through. You need to dig deep inside yourself to work out why you were attracted to a person who lacks basic respect and empathy, and try and teach yourself to being attracted to more decent people. Snoozing 2020 says, part of me wonders if he has an standard or something. I've had casual encounters of this nature, but never had someone block. Blocking seems strange, like he knows he's running from something. IDK just my take. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.